Hello everyone, this is Saman Salim at SS Medics and today we are going to talk about COPD, that is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So COPD is one of the diseases in which the definition lies in the name, that is chronic obstructive disease of the airflow. So when we say that it's chronic, we imply that this disease is permanent and progressive, unlike the asthma in which the condition is variable and reversible. COPD is permanent and progressive. Coming on to the pathophysiology, so there are three basic steps. Number one is chronic inflammatory response of the airways and lungs to noxious particles and gases. So number one step is chronic inflammation. And then second step is airflow limitation leading to air trapping inside the lungs. And finally, this air trapped lungs, they become decreased compliant. Their compliance becomes very less. The most common noxious particles and gases that one should remember are tobacco smoke and wood fire. That's it. The other risk factors, they might include low birth weight, childhood infections, and cannabis smoking, but you can forget these. The ones you should not forget are tobacco smoke and wood fire. So this is the most important slide in which we are discussing in detail those three steps. Number one was chronic inflammation in the airways due to noxious particles. Second was airflow limitation, which is ultimately because of fibrosis in the airways. And finally, because of this fibrosis, when the air is trapped inside the lungs, those air-filled lungs, they become very less compliant. So these are the three stages. The number one stage, chronic inflammation, it has its effect on the lungs as well as on the other systems of the body. Then, because of fibrosis, there will be premature airway closure causing the air trapping. And when there is air trapping in the lungs are filled with air, they become hyperinflated. They appear as the diaphragm appears flat, the intercostal muscles, they appear horizontal. And when the chest compliance is decreased, the work of breathing that becomes increased. Patient will be having trouble in breathing. His breathing will be very labored. He will be using his accessory muscles to support himself, to breathe. Now we will talk about the pulmonary effects of COPD. Now these effects, they are divided in two types. Number one is chronic bronchitis and number two is emphysema. So let's talk about chronic bronchitis now. What happens when there is chronic inflammation in the airways? There is hypertrophy of the mucus secreting cells, including the goblet cells. Tons of sputum is produced, leading to chronic cough. Here I would like to tell you the definition of chronic cough. When the cough lasts for more than 2 weeks, it is called as persistent cough. But when cough lasts more than 2 months, it is called as chronic cough. So in chronic bronchitis, as we have told that the patient will be having chronic cough, so the cough should last at least more than 2 months. And on definition, we can see that cough and sputum on most days for at least 3 months, for at least 2 consecutive years, in the absence of any other accountable respiratory disease. This is the definition of chronic bronchitis. The second type of COPD is emphysema, and these are the patients in which alpha-1 antiproteinase is absent. So these individuals, if their alpha-1 antiproteinase enzyme is deficient, they might develop COPD at a very early age, and they present with uh, the problem that is present at the level of terminal bronchioles. So there is permanent dilation and destruction of the lung tissue distal to the terminal bronchioles. And unopposed action of proteases and oxidants, it leads to destruction of the alveoli. Now let's talk about the famous questions of Viva, that is comparison of blue blotters and pink puffers. So here I have shown this in the diagram as well. The pink puffer, it is mostly a phenotype of emphysema, and blue blotter is mostly a phenotype of chronic bronchitis. So we will discuss why these individuals appear blue, why they are called as blotters, and why these individuals they appear as pink, and why they are called as puffers. So the patients of before proceeding to that, we should have some basic differences in mind between chronic bronchitis and emphysema. So as we have talked earlier, that chronic bronchitis, these individuals have hypertrophy of the mucus secreting cells. They produce tons of sputum in a day, and because of this sputum, they cough a lot, and this is their primary problem. Coughing and lots of sputum production in a day, and that causes them to have dyspnea. Whereas emphysema patients, they do not produce any sputum, and their primary problem is not coughing the whole day. Their primary problem is that they lack the enzyme antiproteinases, and that is why the proteinase enzyme, their action becomes unopposed and they damage the lungs. These individuals, they do have dyspnea, they have very labored breathing, they use all their accessory muscles, but they don't cough that much, they do not produce sputum that much. This is the first difference that we must be aware of between the chronic bronchitis and emphysema patients. The second most important thing is, in the patients of chronic bronchitis, the problem lies at the level of bronchi, whereas in the emphysema patients, the problem lies at the level of terminal bronchioles. Now let's move why they're called as blue blotters. So the chronic bronchitis patients, as they keep coughing and produce lots of sputum, they do not get enough oxygen. And when they don't get enough oxygen, there is hypoxia in the body. They mostly land in type 1 respiratory failure. They do not get enough oxygen. Hypoxia inducible factors are released inside the body, and these hypoxia inducible factors release erythropoietin, which ultimately causes elevated levels of hemoglobin in our body. Now, once the hemoglobin levels are raised, the blood becomes thick and viscous, and this thick and viscous blood, it causes cyanosis. Second problem is that in the chronic bronchitis patients, they mostly land into the cor pulmonale, or there is altered salt and water metabolism, causing them to have edema, and that is why they have blotted appearance. So blue blotters, they have two problems. Number one is that they are blue, that is they are having hypoxia and cyanosis, they are landing in type 1 respiratory failure. Second problem is that they are blotted, they appear as very obese and edematous. Whereas the emphysema patients, these are the individuals which mostly land in type 2 respiratory failure, in which there is increased carbon dioxide retention in the body, hence they appear pink. And uh, they mostly have pursed lip breathing. They mostly sit in this posture, having their backs hunched, and they purse their lips for breathing, and hence they're called as puffers. Coming on to the extrapulmonary effects of chronic inflammation. So when there is chronic inflammation in the lungs and airways, although the inflammation is just in the lungs and airways, the inflammatory markers, they are present in the circulatory system. And these inflammatory markers, they exert their impacts all over the body, causing skeletal muscle weakness, bones weakness, impaired salt and water excretion causing edema, altered fat metabolism causing weight loss, and also the impaired cardiac performance. Hence, the serious disease, metabolic syndrome, osteoporosis, depression, and lung cancer, they are the most common comorbids with COPD. These are some Viva questions that I am covering right now. So starting from the definition till the management of the COPD, management of the acute exacerbations, and telling up to the prognosis, we have completely discussed about COPD. If you have any questions or any queries, anything left, please make sure to drop your comments. Thank you so much for watching the video, and if you like the content, please share and subscribe. Thank you. Have a good day.